Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Straightforward Farming Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Reed, alongside Nick McCormick, just like always.
We're back.
We're back. Don't know for how long, though.
Just like Donald Trump, we're back.
Exactly. We're back, baby. We are making things great again in the state of Illinois.
Making podcasts great again.
Yeah, yep. We're also joined today by Mr. Whittington 2.
Yeah,
yes.
Whittington.
Yes, Whittington.
Whittington 2, Ryan Kelly.
Yes.
Him and I just coming off the Naked show out of Indianapolis. Thought we'd swing over this way and make a few videos, a few podcasts, all that good stuff.
Yes, and are we pausing right now to thank the American farmer?
We are.
Yes.
And
thank you.
for reference, anything we say tonight will not be brought to you by Reichman Brothers.
Yeah. I'm still waiting on the check, so we're just suspending that right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're wondering why it's been so long since we were on here again, is we had to settle the lawsuits from the last time.
Exactly. So, Rudy Giuliani didn't quite come through for us.
Yeah.
So it cost us a few bucks, but that's okay.
Got a little rough.
I was going to read the cease and desist that we got from AGCO, but, you know.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Yep, that is a fact. So, yeah, we're just sitting here shooting the shit. Ryan's flipping through some Prairie Farmer magazines I've got from the 70s and 80s. He's looking for some deals. We actually should call one of these numbers live on the air.
See, they still got it.
Call it about that 4320 you got for sale.
Actually, just got a call on a tractor the other day that I haven't had since 2009.
Really?
Yeah, I came across it somewhere. Hey, you guys still got this? No, I still don't.
Did you have it on your MySpace?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Advertised on MySpace.
Yeah, I think he found it while he was bored. It ticked went away, and he was searching the depths of the internet, and that's where he came across it. It's my guess.
Yep.
What was it?
MX 210.
Okay.
Which apparently I haven't updated some portion of the website, or somebody hasn't done it. I'm pretty sure I asked for that to be gone, but apparently it was there. So who knows?
What, 2009? 210 was a fairly new. Was it 7 years old?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It might have been a little later than that. It might have been 12, whatever. But yeah.
So was that a trade-in when you were an AGCO dealer?
No, that was not.
Maybe with Trump's deal, everybody has to report back to the office. Maybe this spurred something and got this taken down.
Yeah, I'll have to get on that.
Yep. So in other news, if I was a large dairy farmer in the Midwest, I'd probably be shitting bricks right now.
Yeah.
They can be looking for some help, maybe.
Looks like you'll be milking those cows yourself.
If you need to park some money somewhere, Lely automatic milkers might be a good suggestion right now. I don't know. But hey.
There's going to be a lot of Google searches how to turn on vacuum pump.
If you go to a local town bar and there's guys there doing the robot, that's because they've recently purchased one.
Exactly.
To replace some migrants.
Yeah, and we're going to have to throw this out for disclaimers. We are a little bit wound up, so if you got soft ears, you should probably just go ahead and change the station right now.
Could be a long night for you.
Could get a little offensive. I don't know, but just don't hold anything against us.
I've never argued with anybody.
I've been feeling a little froggy all day, so I've been looking to vent for a while now. So,
yes, sir.
Well, I think we can all agree that, we want to thank the large farmer that requires tons of hired help, sometimes illegal hired help. And
absolutely.
We want to appreciate them for all they've done for agriculture.
Yeah, and we do want to thank the doctors for providing the rotator cuff surgery from patting themselves on the back.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize just how intensive, the dairy farmer, injuries are.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's up there.
It is. It's sad.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it's almost as bad as, almost every livestock farmer that kind of has the carpal tunnel syndrome from staring in the mirror talking about how awesome they are.
They're just practicing their acceptance speeches.
Yes.
Right? It's no big deal.
Yeah. And it's no different. We talked over the Naked show when we were there, how every farmer you talk to is broke and don't know what they're going to do and how they're going to do this. And I will assure you, I had the shittiest vehicle in the parking lot, did I not?
Oh, yeah.
By far. Everything there was fancy pickups, King Ranches, dualies, whatever, which them people weren't all farmers either. I should preface that by saying, a lot of just strictly tile contractors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, things are tough. I overheard a couple of guys talking about how they had to settle for a King Ranch instead of a Platinum.
Yeah. Well, you can't pull a tile cart with a Buick, okay? Just saying.
This is true.
Right. I mean, you could.
Be worth
for
a
a,
shot.
for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to revolutionize the industry with that, though. You could try.
You might get a carbon, an offset.
Some sort of carbon
kind of
credit.
carbon
It's
credit
possible.
for,
It's possible.
So I'm going to look into that.
Yeah. So does anybody at this table actually feel sorry for, say it is a large dairy farmer, hog farmer, take your pick, that may potentially lose a bunch of help to the deportation process?
Yeah, I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just,
Hard no?
hard no.
Hard no.
Yeah.
Well, I look at it like this, is when I hear, well, my business needs to operate with this. It wouldn't function without it. If I said, I don't have enough acres to full-time farm and I need to offset my income with a meth lab, which is also illegal, right? Mm-hmm. So
Last I checked, yes.
yes. So if I went and said, well, this meth lab is how we need to run our farm operation, our family farm operation, is that wrong?
Not in Joe Biden's America.
Yeah.
No.
So does anybody get a pass if it's such and such family farms with 45 employees? That's a family farm. Walmart's a family-owned business. The Walton family owns it.
Right.
Amazon is a family-owned business. Jeff Bezos owns it.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Just flat out. No. I just got no. Well, we're on a roll tonight anyways.
You would not do well at congressional hearings. You're given two directive answers.
No.
Did you see the interviews with the TikTok CEO where they're asking him questions that don't make sense? He's like, I'm not sure we're talking about the same thing here.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Like maybe they should have guys interview those guys that actually have used the internet.
Yeah.
Like let's go out on a limb. Like last time some of those guys used the internet, it went like maybe find somebody that's had some
because
some Wi-Fi.
I only caught bits and pieces. Like Tom Cotton didn't realize there was a country Singapore, or what was the deal? I don't know how that went down. I just seen a bunch of jokes about
Well,
it.
can TikTok access the Wi-Fi of a home? The guy's like, well, not unless you turn it on, but you kind of need the internet.
Right.
So it's not really accessing it, but you're like getting on the internet. And that's when he's like, I'm not sure we're talking about the same thing here.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, and we all know what happened. It's a money thing. It's a power thing.
Yeah. So I'm assuming the 90-day clock is ticking, right? I
think
not,
so.
Yeah, I assume so. But
And I've heard different, I don't know, is there 4 different people that are supposedly trying to buy
which
TikTok?
I've never heard. Is it actually even for sale, though?
well, I guess it's for sale if they force you to sell it. Otherwise it's not worth anything, right?
Right.
The whole deal's a sham. Clearly, if they can shut that down, they could stop child porn. They could for sure stop robocalls. And like you're talking about the same government that tells me there's no way they can keep, Juan Pablo in whatever country from calling me and trying to sell me an extended car warranty, but they could shut down the one app that I love, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, for security purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Unbelievable.
You want to give me better security? Send Congress home and tell them, hey, you got to send somebody else.
Yeah, I'm all about
want all new
government
people.
shutdowns. Yeah.
Well, and how are we not? There should literally be some serious investigations of ethics about investing in the competition to that before you make the
and then
law.
vote. As far as I'm concerned, if you're in Congress, you can't invest at all.
Correct.
None. Zero. Zilch. Nada. You can't buy a stock.
Right.
The entire time you're in Congress, you can't buy shit when it comes to stock.
And I think we should have...
Or real estate.
Or real estate.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think there should be some probing into, it should be monitored, family, friends, acquaintances, that, because that's insider trading.
Absolutely.
And if any of us were to say do insider trading like that, we would go to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And instead, these guys...
We put Martha Stewart in prison for it.
Yeah.
So surely we can put these guys in prison for it.
Yeah.
Now they're just that good. They always seem to know what real estate to buy, what stocks to buy. They got a knack for that.
Yeah. Apparently they're good.
Well,
Even though none of them, for the most part, have had a real job in their life.
Yeah, exactly.
Career politicians, but they're great at investing.
well, it's pretty simple. Invest in, defense contractors if you're a politician because no, it's
Yeah.
It's interesting going forward now. I will say this, that I probably feel a little bit happier, better about agriculture right now than I did, say, 6 months ago. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
I feel better overall. It seemed like you at least have somebody competent
Yeah, it's not asleep.
in Washington. I
They
mean,
can actually do an interview off
right.
the cuff
Yeah,
and
you
actually
can't
give you
tell
answers.
me, I don't care how big of a liberal you are, whatever. You can't at least tell me that you don't feel a little bit better about somebody that's at least functional in the White House.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You can tell me you disagree with his policies, you don't agree with his agenda, whatever. But the fact that you can support a guy that literally probably hasn't made a decision on his own in a while
Yeah.
and can't take the stage without shitting his pants.
Yeah. And has been in politics literally since the 70s.
Basically has spent the last, 8 years, maybe longer, essentially hiding.
Yeah.
I think we're better off today.
You know, it's funny how things work out because, honestly, even before Biden was elected, I mean, I absolutely loathed that. I mean, I could not stand that guy as a human being. I mean,
He's been a liar his whole life.
Yeah, if there was
he's greasy.
anybody
Been a shitbag
in
his whole life.
politics, like take Bill Clinton. I don't like Bill Clinton as a person at all, but as far as he seemed like he could be a likable guy. Like if he come into a local bar,
You could probably have a beer with him, tell a couple of jokes, have a good time.
yeah, he just seemed like a likable person.
He gonna make fun of Hillary with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there is nothing about Biden. He's just been a smug prick his entire life. And when he got elected, I thought, man, it pissed me off because it's like, I hate it for the simple fact that, this bastard's going to get to at least go down in history saying, I was president, ha ha, look at me. But it almost worked out for the better because now he's going down as the biggest piece of shit in history.
And he proved it at the 11th hour.
Yeah.
5 minutes to go in my presidency, and I'm going to sign a bunch of shit that I don't even know I signed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll say this. If you don't believe in God and doing what's right, Jimmy Carter was a horrible president, but probably a pretty good human being.
I'm going to disagree.
I'm going to go with shitty human being.
Yeah.
Alex, I'll take shitty human being for 100, please.
Oh, did you ever see all the letters and shit he was writing to all these terrorist countries?
That guy screwed up
shit.
every foreign relation act that we ever had.
Oh.
He was a shitty human being.
He hid behind the Habitat for Humanity
Yeah.
to look good. But, I mean, there was just piles of, just anytime there was any little turmoil around the world, he would basically just write letters to
That guy was
Hamas
fake as
and,
shit.
and
That guy was fake
the
as
America, America's a piece of shit that we don't even handle on your bed. I mean, just
You're talking about a guy he devalued the office of the presidency because that holds a certain esteem, right? You're talking about a guy, I'll carry my own suitcases off the helicopter, but there's nothing in them. Somebody else is carrying the real ones, but I'm going to carry my own to make me look like the common man. No, you just make yourself look like a dipshit because you did shitty things while you were gone. You came back and still look like a dipshit. Yeah. Terrible guy.
Well, and I'll say this. They always say, he was a peanut farmer. And, so we always kind of wonder why he did some of the things he did that hurt the farmer the way he did.
Because he was dumb, that's why.
Well, and I kind of get the impression that maybe he was, they said, he worked hard and the family had mules when he came back home from the farm, but basically it was a family plantation. So it's like, it was old money.
yeah.
It's not like he built up his own farm from nothing.
No.
And so he
was a master manipulator at getting things to be viewed a certain way, even though that's not the way they were.
But if I had to choose between him and Joe Biden to babysit, I'd probably take Carter.
I would take Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
The funny part about the inauguration was, did you notice, because Carrie Underwood's not unattractive, Donald Trump didn't try to sniff her one time, which was refreshing to have a president that's not looking to sniff people.
Yeah.
You know, just saying.
I wouldn't trust my dog as president either. And my dog sniffs a lot.
Talking about the inauguration, what the fuck happened to Billy Ray Cyrus?
Oh my gosh.
What a train wreck that was.
Yeah. Apparently somebody told him about his achy breaky heart because that guy's off the rails.
Oh my God.
I didn't see it. What I missed?
Oh, so wow.
He went to sing Achy Breaky Heart and the audio wouldn't work, or whatever, the speaker, I don't know what it was, that wouldn't work.
Yep.
So he just goes to do this a cappella, which he looks like the Undertaker. You remember WWF
he
Undertaker?
showed up as the Undertaker.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he looked like. So, long hair, cowboy hat, like you couldn't see his face. And it sounded like he had drank 9 bottles of whiskey and smoked
Yes.
85,000 cartons of
Yeah,
cigarettes.
he basically got up there and rambled for a little bit. Imagine Joe Biden trying to sing, but in a deeper voice with a hat and some long hair.
You got to check that out on TikTok. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's off the rails by a long margin.
In
And I'm
fact-
like, and how do he even get drug into this deal? Because that guy hasn't been famous forever. He only had one song that really, I realize holds records, but really wasn't that good of a song. Let's get down to
Yeah,
it.
it was terrible. I mean,
His best song, meaning-wise, was "Some Gay
Yes,
Balls."
I was just gonna say that.
By far.
But I'll say this: Billy Ray is probably more popular than we think of due to his daughter. You know, and the whole Disney
Yeah.
kid thing. I mean, because
Yeah.
he was.
here, I pulled it up on the phone. We can all take a listen to this. So this was him singing at the inauguration.
Hit the ball.
There go.
It should come up.
I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna. I can't no more. Y'all can put your hands together now. I like that.
I mean,
If
this,
you encourage him out, keep going.
I never even seen this song. He was attempting Achy Breaky Heart on the videos that I seen.
Yeah, which was not pleasant.
But it was
to
the
ear.
same thing that just went down right there.
Yeah. Imagine you teach Tony's dog to speak English,
Yes.
Yeah.
and then you load him up on liquor and pills, and then have him try to sing it. Same thing.
Yeah, I just kind of pictured somebody that had just nicotine-stained fingers.
Like he had a rough day. It's like they made him walk there from Nashville,
Yeah.
and he was just so doggone
Yeah.
tired he just couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, I guess I pictured him with I'm going to say an old school Budweiser in one hand and an unfiltered cigarette in the other one. When
Oh, he
was
definitely
singing that.
had a carton of Pall Malls,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I don't. He had way more than Budweiser. I
When
would
you
say.
get done here, pull it up on your phone. He was literally WWF Undertaker, 1992.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
I wonder who picks, who
I
gets
don't
to
know.
sing it.
Did anybody see any of Nellie's post inauguration interviews?
I did not.
Nelly
So-
was on there?
Absolutely, Nellie was. And I like Nellie.
They,
Nellie's the
they
same.
dusted him off.
Nellie, so he's not super far from here, 120 miles or whatever. Nellie and the St. Lunatics, St. Louis,
Yeah.
Missouri, not super far from where we're at today. And I always liked Nellie. He basically, so they're giving him all kinds of grief about doing the inauguration balls, et cetera, et cetera. And he's like, he basically says,
I need the money.
well, that's probably the long and the short of it. But he's like, nobody else has ever asked me. He's like, I'd have done it for Barack. I'd have done it for Kamala. I'd have done it for Joe, but nobody else asked me. He's like, I hold the office of the president so high that I would have done it for any of them.
That
If
really,
anybody would have ever asked me.
so it was a really good answer, actually.
Here's the sad part. So I watched Nellie's interview, Soldier Boys, Kid Rock's, all of them. Their interviews made more sense than anything Joe Biden said in the last 4 years. And he was the president of the world. Because essentially we run the world. Let's just get down to it. For sure,
Yeah.
obviously the president of the United States, their interviews made a ton more political sense than anything that guy said.
Are you guys remember from sick days as a kid when we'd stay home watching Mr. Ed reruns?
Dairy farmers
occasionally?
don't take sick days.
Well, I mean, that didn't mean you got out of chores.
When you was laying around for
You
rotator
didn't
cuff
go to
surgery.
school.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah. I wonder if they kind of did that with Joe Biden, the whole thing with Mr. Ed. Like, they'd put some peanut butter, up in Joe's upper lip.
Yeah.
And he'd just get up there and they had somebody else.
Well, it did kind of look like that from time to time,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
God, what a shit show the last 4 year was.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But the nice part about it is looking back now. Had Trump not got cheated out of the deal, because let's face it, where are the APBs on the 20 million people that allegedly voted that didn't show up this last time?
Right.
Had Trump immediately got reelected, which he did but didn't get to take office, he would have done a good job. But now he's had 4 years to marinate and 4 years to realize that, hey, whatever the RNC tells me I need to do on this, that, and the other, ain't doing it. I'm going to put my people in there. We're going to do it my way. Because newsflash, I'm in charge and you got nobody. You're not shoving your agenda down my throat. I'm not going to go along to get along.
Yep.
We're going to do it the right way. We're going to put America first. We're going to do the shit we need to do. He's done more in the last 3 days than Joe Biden did in 4 years.
Sure.
As far as positive wise, he's done way more off the cuff interviews than Joe Biden's done in the last 12 freaking years.
Yeah.
And prior to that, if you let Joe Biden do an off the cuff interview, he's going to say something really dumb.
Yeah.
But we give him a pass on all that. The guy was confirmed racist, confirmed moron.
Yep.
At every level, every time he spoke.
Yep.
But we're just going to pretend that never happened. A confirmed liar. The guy's lied about everything he's ever said.
Absolutely.
Oh, I got this in college. I did this. I
won't
drove a
pardon my
truck for
son.
a
I
while.
won't do-
All the shit. Always lied about it. He lied
Yep.
about everything he's ever said.
Yep.
He's just a shitty human being.
Yep. Is your cord hitting the mic? I keep hearing a rattling.
I'm sorry.
Oh, wait. Yeah, here. It's going up over here. Flip it right over there.
There you go. Flip a cord right.
There
There we
you
go.
go.
Now we go.
Look at
Here
that.
we
We're
go.
sitting and talk out
Yeah.
now. I kept
Sorry.
hearing a rattling.
Due to technical difficulties.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to have to sing this a cappella.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah.
No, I think we had to let things get so. If Trump would have had the last 4 years, they maybe would have just bided their time. We'd have had the same old shit this time around. It went so bad, so far, that this was kind of. I mean, like I really think that there's a change in the mentality.
Well, and I think, too, look at it this way, and I don't know enough about the guy. I'm going to be totally honest with you right now. Comes to J.D. Vance, I don't know a lot about him. I truly don't. But if Trump would have just immediately got reelected, served 2 consecutive terms, you'd have been stuck with Mike Pence, right?
Yeah.
J.D. Vance might have been a thought in the wind. You never really knew the guy.
Yeah.
What I like about J.D. Vance already is, I mean, J.D.
Yeah, so,
That-
but I mean, if it goes well and he can kind of prove himself, he could potentially be a president someday where
Yeah.
Mike Pence is what you're going to be stuck with before, and he showed he basically has no backbone. I mean, you'd have the same old status quo.
The nice part about J.D. Vance is you can interview that guy on any topic, anytime, intelligently. He can rattle it off. He's got it. He knows the facts. He knows the figures. The guy's actually younger than us, you know, and that's refreshing at some level.
Yeah.
To have a guy that is quick on his feet, that knows his shit, knows where things should be, knows where it's going, and can talk on it clearly and make it happen.
Yeah. So what are we going to find out in the JFK files here? Just got an executive order today.
I am licking my chops.
Yeah.
Did you see when he signed that? He handed that pen off to one of his aides, like, give that to RFK Jr.
Really? Well, see, the stupid part was he's watching the news tonight, and JFK's grandson,
Yep.
he's throwing a shit fit that, we don't need to be doing this, and, basically JFK's dead, and he's not here to defend himself. And then it immediately goes to
JFK didn't kill himself.
Right.
Right.
But then it immediately goes to RFK Jr. walking down the hallway. He's like, I think it's a great thing. He kept his word to the American people. It's time to hold your government accountable.
Well, it was supposed to get released
Yeah.
the last time, and they postponed it.
Yeah.
It
should
should
be
have been released.
Should have been released in the 60s.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I'm.
Yeah.
Does anybody think that it was just Lee Harvey Oswald?
No.
I'm thinking now Anthony Fauci was involved.
That's why he got the preemptive pardon.
Exactly.
Yes.
He's got just as good a chance of being guilty for it as Lee Harvey Oswald does.
Yeah.
Slightly more.
Lee Harvey Oswald spoke it very clearly. I'm just a patsy.
And
that's
then he got shot by a guy
By gangster.
Yep.
Yep.
Jack Ruby.
who happened to get aggressive cancer that killed him in prison before he could ever testify.
The damnedest luck, wasn't it?
It is. It is. That cancer's a bitch.
I just hope it actually gets released and it ain't a bunch of hype and a bunch of redacted stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As they say in the modern world, make it make sense. You know?
Yeah.
That's a whole big shitstorm there. I've read a lot of books on that, researched that a ton. I can subscribe to a lot of theories. My guess is none of those are correct. We probably still will never know the truth even after these so-called facts come out, but it will be refreshing to see that stuff released. Because previously Trump's like, well, you saw what I saw. You wouldn't release it.
And this is what I want to know too. So like the government, do they actually like know 100% for sure? Is this just sort of a theory and like
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
My
guessing.
guess is they know.
I would guess. Yeah. I mean, because I think they were involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know that we'll get everything because I imagine there's a few people that are. I mean, they said it could take 30 days or 60 days, something like that.
And of course, I seen the CIA's all over it. You know, they're like, "Well, we're not."
I'm sure they are.
You know, we wasn't involved in that. It's like, well, anybody that's there now, what are you even trying to defend this? Who cares if you did or didn't? I mean, it's water under the bridge. You know.
Not to me.
You've seen the movie.
Well, no. I'm saying anybody that's working there now,
yeah,
it's like, well, you didn't do it. I mean, so why are you trying to stick up for these guys?
I tell you what, if there was a 90-year-old man in a nursing home that had something to do with it, I would drag him by his oxygen hose out to the cop car and throw him in.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I would rough him up.
Well, on the backside of that, though, Kennedy cheated that election, so maybe he got what he deserved. Because he wasn't duly elected either. Nixon won that election. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, I mean, Daley pretty much admitted.
Daley admitted it.
Yeah.
Kennedy should have never been president. Now, I'm not knocking some of the things that Kennedy did, but he didn't get elected the first time. He cheated his way to the victory, and then he got shot for going back on his word.
Yeah.
That's what got him taken down.
Absolutely.
In my opinion, and we'll see if it comes out, but in my opinion, he got taken down for the fact he wasn't going to bow to the military industrial complex.
I think that's exactly.
They may have used the mob, they may have used the CIA, they may have used the Cubans, whatever. But the bottom line was, we're not going to give you your war in Vietnam.
Yeah, that's what.
And
came down to
LBJ was
Vietnam.
dying to give him that.
And then LBJ went, "What are we doing here?"
Yeah.
And
He's like,
said,
"Oh, I'll do
out.
that."
I'm out. And then he said, "I'm out after, his term." Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
LBJ was a shitty human being.
Oh my God, he was terrible.
Yeah, what
he
a
was
shitty human
awful.
being.
so. Isn't
Treated
it
the Secret Service like dog shit.
Well, and isn't it amazing that when we think of, so today the Democrats like to think of themselves as liberal and humanitarian and compassionate, right? All you have to do is look at the 1968 Democratic National Convention and the way that was handled by the Democrat, government in the city of Chicago and how they handled things.
Yeah.
I mean, compassion,
Well, it's always about compassion until they disagree with you. Then they just
Here's the thing about liberalism, Ryan, and here's what it comes down to. Everything they stand for, doesn't matter if we're saving the monarch butterfly or if we're saving the illegal immigrant or if we're saving the rainforest or if we're saving the transgender, can't identify, don't know if they have a ball or slit, all their bullshit is not viable unless somebody is doing the work and paying the bills. At the end of the day, if you can't afford groceries, if you can't afford a roof over your house, if you can't afford this, that, and the other, all their shit is solely based on the fact that somebody else has built something and made something and can afford your bullshit policies. None of their stuff comes down to actual real life at the beginning, right? When we landed in America, had that been all Democrats on the first boat in America, were we going to build a fire, warm up, maybe kill something, cook some meat? Well, we should do an environmental study and see what this is going on. All their shit is literally built on bullshit. None of their stuff actually, you can only do that stupid shit if you have enough money on the front side of it to afford to do it. None of it actually amounts to, it's all in their mind well, good, and great, but it doesn't mean anything unless you can house yourself, feed yourself, shelter yourself, raise your kids, etc. Like, if you can't meet your basic needs, the entire liberal agenda is complete bullshit.
Well, and I think a lot of it has to do with entitlement, a sense of entitlement, and a false sense of intelligence. So they have all these, kind of like the socialism program, even communism, that only works if there's worker bees under you. And they're always, the leaders of these parties are not the worker bees.
Absolutely.
They're the we're smart, let us do the thinking.
You've got a group of liberal dipshits right now defending the fact that Venezuela dumped all their prisoners here. The Haitian gangs are here. All these gangs of terrible human beings are here right now. And they're defending the fact that they should be allowed to stay here even though they got dumped here illegally and dipshit Joe Biden let them in.
Yeah.
And they're defending the fact we should welcome them. Why in the blue loving fuck would I want to welcome an entire gang of the worst criminals in the world into my country? That makes no sense. Not even the least little bit. Those are shitty human beings and should immediately be deported, which thankfully Trump's doing.
Well, and what other country says, yeah, just come on in?
Yeah.
There's no other country.
Yeah. No, not in the world.
Nope.
It's only one apartment building, Ryan. Someone took it over. Yeah. It's no big deal. So you just move your grandparents someplace else. They just lost their home and all their belongings. It's fine. Yeah. Bullshit.
So is that actually owned by Venezuela? No,
I don't know.
Apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado, is that now Venezuela?
Like
it's a territory.
That's
a territory.
All that bullshit only works if somebody is doing the work and you have the money to do it.
Yep.
If I drop you off in the middle of wherever, an unsettled land, if I drop you off in the middle of Antarctica right now, even though nobody can go, in the middle of Alaska, in the middle of northern Canada, the middle of Siberia, you could give two shits what the environmental study is. You could give two shits about this. And if I drop you and your family off, what are you going to need? Food and shelter are your main two things. If you can't afford those two things and you have no way to build those, you don't care about the monarch butterfly. You don't care about gender identity. You don't care about any of that stuff because none of that shit matters unless you have your basic needs met. All their entire agenda is built on the fact that it's bullshit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think there's just part of our problem as a society is, I said this the other day, when people didn't have time to worry about stuff.
Yeah.
Because you had to work. So when they talk about this livable wage and that kind of stuff that we're just going to provide for people, AI will do these things. The worst thing you can do is to not give people work. Like, you need a purpose.
Absolutely you do.
So when you take that away, then what?
In your hometown, the people that are kind of crazy, are they people that are doing a lot of work? Almost never.
No.
You hear about I'm just going to use a random example. You hear about a housewife that kind of loses her shit, goes off the deep end. Was she one that was going to work all the time?
No.
Not necessarily. Like, you hear about a guy that, his family was wealthy, but he was always a little different growing up. So he never really got a job. Like, he was just kind of mowing the lawn at the house, whatever, but never really had to go work because they had enough money to not do it. And then he ends up just being this weirdo that lives in they got millions of dollars, but he's this weirdo that just lives off and whatever. Because he never had to go to work and do anything and never had a purpose. Yeah. Like you said, you have to have a purpose at some point in time.
You do.
And
that's why we don't need AI. We don't need robots doing a lot of this stuff. And then
your best day where you felt the most sense of pride about what you had done that day. Was it a day you did nothing and just kicked your feet up and just relaxed with the family? Or was it a day where you were engaged with the family and you guys took on a task and you accomplished it and you built something? And that could be as simple as hanging a gate that swings correctly and doesn't drag the ground. It can be that simple. But that was way better than a day where you literally did nothing, right?
Absolutely.
But that's not necessarily the case for everybody in the world now.
No.
Unfortunately.
And since they don't have a purpose, they manufacture bullshit.
You make up problems to come up with bullshit solutions so we can funnel. Like, you hear the numbers on some of this shit. Well, we give $200 million for this cause and $200 million for that.
Yeah.
They're not even real causes. Like, I don't want to wreck the environment and so on and so forth. But, like, once again, if you get back to religion, God's going to destroy this earth anyway.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you've got to be disrespectful to it and just terrorize it and just burn it to the ground. But cows are here to eat.
Yeah.
They are. Animals are here for our use, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, yeah.
Take your pick of the topic. But you get these people that are, well, we're going to save this, we're going to save that. If we went 100% with their policies, if we had 100% area where we just ran off sole liberal policies, would it make it 30 days?
Name one city that's been ran by liberal people that has succeeded.
Look at Chicago and Detroit. Yeah. Last time I checked, they ain't looking so hot. They've been ran by Democrats for years. Ain't going so well.
California's doing well, though.
Yeah, they are. There's a prime example.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan called that 6 months ago. Your shit's going to burn.
Yeah.
No. We're not going to get rid of the underbrush. We don't need water reservoirs. I mean, State Farm's like, you know what? We're not going to insure your house for fire anymore because you have no water.
Right.
There's a river that runs down there, but we're going to divert it to the ocean. Great plan.
Yeah.
Great plan.
It's by design. As far as I'm concerned, it's by design. Yeah. You know what's kind of amazing here? This caught my eye. Not to take it away from that, back to farming.
Nope.
This is a straightforward farming podcast. Yeah. We're all about farming here. We don't talk any politics. All about farming.
But I was looking at this, the old prairie farmer here, and what stood out to me, so 643 corn heads, this is a 1977 issue, $4,500. So now there's a lot of things that, hold their value or et cetera, but that $4,500 for that corn head seems like a lot of money in 1977, doesn't it?
Flip back through there when you start looking at actual articles. The John Deere's UAW renewed their contract, $7.65 an hour.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. This stuff is...
And they're lying because they're not building autos.
Yeah.
How come the UAW be building farm equipment? I mean, I guess it's a stretch to call John Deere shit farm equipment, but I mean, there's that. But I think they're misusing the term. Why wasn't there a United Farm Workers union?
Yep.
Well, yeah.
That's where they really missed their beat.
This is better than looking at a Playboy for you, ain't it?
It's...
Ryan can't really talk right now. Yeah. He's got a 77 model Prairie Farmer, and he's going to call a number. He's going to own a 643 corn head in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, no, I say it a lot, and I'll stick by it. You're never going to convince me farming today is better than it was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
But in a lot of ways, what is better? What is better now than it was 50 years ago? Name me something. I'm not saying
cell phone reception is a lot better today than it was.
Are we better off with cell phones? Are we better off with cell phones than we were without them? I deal with this every day.
I know
I deal with it every day with my daughter sitting there. Tony and I grew up without cell phones.
Right.
You know how magical it was to tell your parents, hey, I'm going to Tony's. I'll be home in the morning, or I'll be home at midnight, my curfew, whatever it is. And then you're just gone. And then you come back. You magically reappear.
Yep.
Nobody tracked your shit. Nobody videoed your shit. Yep. And you just got to do whatever within the confines of knowing that if you screwed up, you got an ass kicking coming.
Well, and how did we find each other back then?
It wasn't hard.
But we did.
Tony and I have talked about this 1,000 times. Our kids are in the same class. They were born months apart. They could, if I called my daughter and he called his son right now and told them, find one another, it would be an hour and a half before they could put that together.
Yep.
But Tony and I, in our day, could decide on Monday that on Thursday night we're going to meet at 7 o'clock, wherever, at Tony's shed, and we would magically both appear at 7 o'clock at Tony's shed. Here we are. We're good. These dipshits got iWatches, iPhones, Life 360, Snapchat, all the means of communication. And, well, I don't want to go to that party because, well, I mean, I was supposed to, but Ryan Kelly's going to be there, and he's going to be there in his sound guard, and I just can't go. These morons can't put any of it together. And not that they're morons, but like they got to talk about it 9,000 times to put the plan together, and I do not understand it.
Yeah. Well, and even, so reading these magazines. Remember when a farm magazine would show up? How excited you were?
Yep.
Or for us, it was the Country Today and the Ag Review newspapers. Oh, gosh, you couldn't wait for them. And now, we were Googling about an old dairy farm here today, and we can find everything right at the tip of our fingers.
Yeah.
On a phone. And it was like, we saw all that, and it's like, that's interesting. Where, we would cut out pictures from these magazines as a kid, and hold on to that.
These kids today don't have to go to an Encyclopedia Britannica to look up something, No. But they'll still ask you a dumb question. It's like, well, you've got a smartphone with you. Why don't you just Google it?
Yeah.
You know, my phone's not the only one with Google, but in my house, apparently it must be.
Well, and I think part of that is, I think kids still want some attention and want some parental advice and stuff that we kind of take it for granted.
Yeah.
And
we got it whether we wanted it or not.
Right.
I mean, how many times you and I have had this conversation? You're sitting around with your uncles and your dad, and you're just listening, and then it turns to you, and they just eat your ass about something. You were just sitting there innocent listening to them, and they told you, hey, Tony, you dipshit.
Yeah.
Like, next time you grab a 2x4, you know, you need to do this, this, and this with it. You're not building anything at that time. You're just literally sitting around them while they're drinking beer, listening to them because, well, shit, Mom and Dad brought us over here, and the women went off to their corner, the men went off to their corner. I'm sitting with them listening, and they give you 3 tips on something you should be doing that you didn't even know you needed to be doing that turned out to be handy later. And now these kids could look that up easy enough.
Yeah.
But, well, they can't pull it off with this equipment.
But I also think, and maybe I'm wrong with this, but when we were kids, like, you didn't cling on the adults like if you were going to a party or a get-together, but like on a Sunday or something where it was no big deal. Like, I enjoyed listening to the older crowd talk because you always picked up little tidbits here and there where the kids nowadays don't care about any of that. They they're gone.
You know, it's interesting how different people view that. So my brother and I have had this conversation several times. And although we were raised in the same house and we're very similar in a lot of ways, there's certain things, you know, that I'll rattle off. I remember a lot of random dumb shit. I do. Nothing that I should remember, but I'll remember random dumb shit. He's like, why do you know that? I'm like, I don't know. So-and-so said that. Old stories, like all that old talk about certain things, guys that would come into the shop and tell a story about this, that, and the other. I didn't remember it. If you'd asked me 2 days after, I probably couldn't have told you. 20 years after that, I can regurgitate it. I remember it then. He doesn't necessarily remember that. His brain's focused on bigger things than that because he's way smarter than me. But so he didn't have time for that stuff, I suppose. But some of that stuff is the most valuable things that I know, like the little things, the little stories, the little nuances, why is this built here? Well, because Brian owned this and he wouldn't sell it. So Jim had to build it over here.
Yep.
Even though he wanted it over there.
Yep.
And then, Jim decided to sell it, and then that's how Tony bought it, and that's how it all got screwed up,
Yep.
Just the little nuances of stories and how history goes and how things happen. And that stuff just intrigues the shit out of me, and I love that part of life.
I always caught little tidbits, when like my grandpa or dad would be talking, there was a house set there when I was a kid, hell, there ain't been a house there my whole life. No trace of any farm ever even being there.
My dad was king of directions. Well, you go over here and you turn at so-and-so's house. I'm like, there was no house on that corner. Well, there used to be. Well, I'm sure there did. I'm like, sure there used to be one. There was, but there's not one now. Yep. Well, there'll be a horse stand at that gate. Well, how do you know that? Well, there's been one every time I drove by there. Okay, I guess I'll turn. If I find a horse stand at the gate, I'll turn, know. But it's funny how, my brother got more time with my grandpa, my dad's dad. So he remembers some stuff from earlier on that I didn't get with my grandpa, little things he would say, but I caught a little more on the backside once he was in college, whatever. So it's just a little bit different on so forth on that. Different things with my dad, like sayings or tips, tricks, etc., or just random bullshit, but like just different things with it. It's just funny how all that plays out in the long term.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yep. What are you finding over there, Scooter? Anything
good? What do you need to buy?
Oh, there's so much.
Well, it's like you need some PAG seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
for all your needs. Those probably go good in your climate.
This big changes in design and finance arrangements, new tractors for 82. And, it's already, the market is in tough shape already in 82.
Thank you, Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
He didn't affect the rain, but he did affect the interest rate.
Paul Volcker. Yeah, he nominated Paul Volcker, which that was great. Which maybe it needed to be done, but there could have been some things to assist some farmers in there. But nevertheless, it went down the way it went down. And to a certain thing, I will say the 80s were bad, right? I mean, we can agree on that. But there was a reset in there. Sometimes a reset helps things because if it would have continued on the trajectory it was going in through the 70s, we wouldn't be talking about $10,000 to $15,000 an acre land.
Yeah.
We'd be talking about $40,000 to $50,000 an acre land, right?
Yeah.
So there was all right things, but this is amazing. I mean, you can get everything at Menards. They're selling tractors here.
Who, Menards is?
Menards is selling tractors.
I didn't know Menards was a thing around here back then.
Apparently it is. They're selling Menards.
Did you save big money?
Well, just think. Menards brand tractors, and you get the 11% off sale. I mean, that's a hell of a rebate.
Get a rebate.
Yeah. And especially when they're charging 18% on the front side if you finance.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's amazing. But yeah, Menards tractors, that's crazy. Well, you got a TikTok tomorrow.
Yeah. That'd be like the Farm King that Rural King sells now or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But they don't sell 133 horsepower.
Was it branded a Menards tractor?
Why pay more than a Menards low prices?
I think that's a
brand.
4440 sold at Menards.
Famous brand.
It's a 4440 with a Briggs and Stratton.
Yeah. It's pretty much the same as a John Deere engine at that point.
It's a T-move.
Actually, Briggs was a little ahead. Briggs was a little ahead of John Deere at that point.
This is your next tractor store. You are looking for a Menards tractor.
Yeah.
Famous brand, fuel-efficient diesel tractors.
Nice.
Yeah.
I did not know this. They almost kind of look like a David Brown.
I'll bet you can't find a Menards tractor on Tractor House right now.
I don't think it's the category you can search.
Yeah.
I thought they had every brand on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is amazing. You should mark this page. And I'm going to put this bottle cap in there.
Yeah.
So then, that'd be a hell of a TikTok.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will have had one. Hey, look at that. Is that white tractors right there? Look at
It
that.
is.
I wish we could be videoing this. I mean,
White, but they're gray. Make up their mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's because Case already had taken the white away.
Well, Case had to do something, I suppose.
You must be really torn which one you like better, the white or the Case, because Case is tied to your favorite brand, but you're tied
Case
to
isn't
the
tied to my
Agco
brand.
dealership history.
Case brought nothing to the table. Look, we can all agree on that. Case brought nothing to the table.
That sweet digital dash.
They brought crab steer. I mean, come on. Who
Yeah.
does
Who
not
doesn't
want
want crab steer?
Kloss brought crab steer back.
They did. They're bringing it back.
Yeah, make crab steer great
Those
again.
crazy Germans are doing it again.
Yeah. I want to do that. I should ask my local John Deere dealer about a 9RX quad track. I'm like, is that crab steer?
Yes.
Can I get one of those and grab?
Yes.
You could probably get crabs in a crab steer, but you probably can't get a crab steer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a perfect thing for Kloss to do. I mean, because the Germans are...
A few years behind.
Germans love to over-engineer
I
everything.
When they say German engineering, I just think overcomplicated, probably hard to work on, probably a lot of bullshit.
Yeah. Let's talk about the German diesel tractor. To me, them don't, and I don't know much about them, they don't look like they really impressed me much. It looks like a bunch of shit on them. I mean, it just looks complicated.
That comes down to they couldn't get enough made in the United States because they were fighting with the UAW, so they had to buy them from Germany.
Yeah, I mean...
But it's not a superior motor to the IH motor,
Oh,
is it?
no, in no way, shape, or form.
No, absolutely not. Expensive to fix. Not that the 407 is cheap to fix, but
it was then.
Yeah, comparatively, yeah. I think,
Who had metric tools back then? That's why I asked my dad one time, I'm like, how'd you guys work on these back in the day? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, you didn't have any metric tools back then. Well, they came with a toolkit. I'm like, yeah, a set of shitty chrome vanadium wrenches.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not torquing rod bolts and head bolts with a fucking...
The do-it-best truck rolls in
the leather pack that's in the toolbox. You're not doing much with that.
Yeah.
No. We didn't have to work on much. Well, I suppose not. But, yeah, they were nowhere close to the American version.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
How big did that German diesel motor go? Like what, a 756?
310.
826.
Yeah, 826. Well, and then 886 would have been the last ones.
Well, 3288.
3288s, yeah.
Yep.
No shit. Them had a German diesel.
Yep. Yep.
Or Nice
Nice diesels or something, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back then, German was a bad word at some point, Tony, so we had to call them something else. But
Yes.
I could see that.
I mean, we all remember our World War II grandfathers and their view on.
Oh, my grandpa was Japanese. That was his nemesis because he was in the Pacific Theater. So.
Yep.
yeah.
And I can't say that I blame the guy. I mean,
Here's the funny part, and I've asked this question a lot of times amongst tractor pullers. So, in the grand scheme of modified tractor pulling world, you've got Allisons, which are pretty badass. I love Allisons. They were really awesome, pre like really big Hemi shit and really badass superchargers, etc. Like Allisons were cool, and you could buy them for nothing. Back in the day, in the 80s, tractor pulling, you could buy an Allison for like $700 in the crate from this warehouse in Texas. You bring it home, you pump hot diesel fuel through it to blow the cosmoline out of it, fire it up, go to the pull. You heard about any, for as good as the Germans supposedly were? Name me a badass German engine from that time frame. Apparently they didn't have any.
Well, didn't they use like the Merlin, which was the
Merlin
Rolls
was
Royce?
British.
Yeah, and didn't
Rolls
the
Royce.
Germans use that in their?
I don't think so. They copied the Allison, but made it a little bit better in a couple of things. Because the one plane wouldn't fly with an Allison, they put the Merlin in it, and then it would. But that was all on the American/British side. That wasn't on the German side. I don't know what they used for those engines. I suppose when you lose the war, all your shit gets blown up, and they didn't have anything left at the end anyway, right?
Yeah.
Because they'd moved to the jet, and they couldn't launch them, and all that shit.
Yeah.
So maybe they had a couple cool engines, but like you never heard about a cool German tank engine or a cool German airplane engine. Like all that shit was just, I guess, gone, and maybe wasn't that good to begin with.
Yeah.
But
is that the same Allison that makes transmissions company, or is it different?
I would guess.
I think it's the same company. I mean, it was GM owned ish.
Yeah.
The whole time, right? I think so.
I think so.
If you want to read a really cool book on that, V for Victory, VEE for Victory, is the entire history of the Allison aircraft engine, and it is badass. And they had some really cool shit coming on. And then the jet engine was out at the end of World War II, and like, well, I guess we're fucked. And that's probably when they got into transmissions.
Yeah.
Like, well, a shitty Chevy diesel engine won't tear up a transmission, so we can build something for that.
Yeah.
But
There you go.
they had some really cool next level shit. Their tolerances were great. Like they had some really good engine stuff back in the day.
Yeah.
Which was not characteristic to GM, so that must have been a different division. But
So looking back now, have they chewed through all these Allison engines like where
they're really hard to find these days. Yeah. I mean, we're only 30 miles from a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Probably the largest stockpile in America, truthfully.
Yeah.
Or one of.
Yep.
But yeah, they're super hard to get.
But to your point, too, I mean, the Germans are in love with Allison pulling tractors.
Because they had access to more of those than they did German shit, because they blew all that up, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't think they had anything that badass at the end.
No.
But whatever.
So, talking about all this German stuff, I didn't know till like 6 months ago, a guy was telling me about his Gleaner combine with a Deutz motor in it, I guess. And so each cylinder has its own head. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing. Like, how does that work? Like, I'm not familiar with that.
Well, individual head gaskets.
So that's what I'm saying. So like on TikTok, you're like, well, I blew 6 head gaskets today. I mean,
There's some beauty in it and some ultimate failure in it. Like, okay, so you tear a head up, you don't have to replace the one or 2 valves, whatever. The problem with like on the K side is that so they had 3 heads on a 6-cylinder, 2 cylinders apiece, but they could never hold anything because everything moves and warps and just didn't work out very well. But,
yeah, your block. I mean, in theory, if you have 1 cylinder head, your block is stronger because you're basically, binding it all together with the cylinder head.
right.
Where the only thing holding your 6 or 8 heads, depending on your Deutz, would be your manifolds.
yeah.
Yep. So I assume them are fucking pricey to work on, the Deutz motors, or not?
Deutzes were pricey, I assume, because they were German.
Yeah, no, they don't even do an air-cooled engine anymore. I think because the newer Deutzes, like Renner Cell, They're liquid cooled.
Yeah.
I think they might even be a man.
The newer Deutzes are pretty good.
That's what I was going to say. Like, Finn, them are a man motor, aren't they?
The man stuff's pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah.
And I assume I
think so.
That's German, I'm assuming.
I assume. Yeah.
Yeah, is that a cis man or is it just a?
Yeah, it's a transgender. I mean,
I
don't know if it's a Caitlin or a Bruce. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an Agco.
It's a man.
yeah, we're gonna have to lobby to get that changed. We can't call it a man.
Yeah, it's a man's man, baby.
Yeah. I don't know I know the Deutzes back in the day. So I was around a D100 DX120, DX160. They didn't like either. I mean, they might like it once, but then they become like a,
So what does Deutz translate to, or is that just like John Deutz? I mean,
I don't know. I assume so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Deutz far.
Yeah.
Yeah. KHD, Clocker, Humboldt, Deutz.
Actually, while we're sitting here, the first prairie farmer you looked at, flip through that, there's a graph in the middle of that with tractor horsepowers.
Yeah.
And there was like 2 or 3 tractors in there I'd never heard of. Did you see that at the very top?
Flip that I didn't even check and see if the Menards.
Come on, Ryan.
The Menards tractor was in here.
Yeah.
I think it was a color page about the middle of the magazine, but it was showing horsepower. And I think red, as in International, had more horsepower in the 4386 than the 8630 Deeres and whatever.
Of course they did.
Yeah. What do you think about that shit?
John Deere didn't build a diesel engine. Well, I don't know if they have yet, but they damn sure didn't back then.
Yeah.
It was just a gas motor converted to diesel. It was the 5.7 Chevy of the ag world.
Yeah, it worked.
Didn't work very good.
Yes.
You were coming off a 2-cylinder. That's like saying this chick is really hot when you went out with a 600-pound fatty the night before.
We were talking at the show yesterday, the old pony motors.
Oh, yeah.
Going to run 40,000.
Yeah.
As compared to the started on gas, switching over to diesel, and then crack your cylinder head design.
Still better than a 2-liter.
I don't know, the set fuel economy records stood for.
Of course they did, because
40
nobody
years.
was using the piece of shit. They were super fuel efficient. If you can't use it,
Oh, no.
I'll take an M every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Oh,
2 cylinders
there it is.
rock.
There we go.
You know why there's so many more John Deere antiques than any other brand? Because they made them for 30 years fucking longer than anybody else. Until they hired a guy from Ford to redesign their shit, they'd still be running 2-liter shit. They didn't use any John Deere engineers to do the new Generation Plus.
Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't. That was all fresh fucking blood, bud.
No,
the main guy on that was from Ford. You
You're
can
talking
bullshit
about the
me
power
you can bullshit me any way you want. But that guy was from Ford.
Harold Brock worked on the power shift.
Yeah. Deere didn't redesign the engine, and when they did, it was a gas motor on fucking diesel. That's why the injectors are in spark plugs and the pump sets where the distributor was. They weren't worth a fiddler's fuck. We all know it. You, me, and the American fucking public know it. They suck ass.
Have you ever heard of anybody having an injector seized in a John Deere? Because
No, because the fuckers come fucking loose and fucking... it's 45 fucking hours later we can get the injector boots changed on this pile of shit. Yeah. Meanwhile, on a 400 series, like, oh, a little piece of hose. We're done. Yeah.
And you have to have a separate injector cut.
How many
when you
companies
pull
back
an
then
injector,
bought...
drain the coolant when you drop the.
Not if somebody with
injector out.
a brain put fucking anti-seize on them like they were supposed to.
All right.
It's not a hard solution. It's not difficult.
It just seems like to me like just one copper.
I gotta have a tool to line these up because otherwise it's just freaking random. Oh, but nobody owns the tool, so we're just eyeballing the shit out of it. Oh shit, it didn't tighten up the right spot. Crack it loose, turn it a little bit, tighten it up. Oh shit, it's not in the right spot. Loosen it a little bit, tighten it up. All fucking day to put 6 injectors in and still end up with them in spark plug holes still fucking leaking because they ain't worth a shit.
So you're telling me you would like a John Deere motor in a Peterbilt semi?
No, I would not. I'll take a Peterbilt long before I'll take a John Deere. I'll push a Peterbilt before I'll drive a John Deere. Like I said before, Tony, I'd rather have a sister working a street corner as a brother working in a John Deere. There was no redeeming qualities to those early engines. Those were piles of shit.
You just can't get through to these AGCO guys.
Exactly. Yeah. We know our engine sucks, so we're going to leave holes in the side of it so the antifreeze can just run on the ground. Great plan. Great plan.
Yeah.
Oh, here's your 8630. The transmission sucks. The engine sucks. We too stupid to mount the son of a bitch. So if you cross a fucking ditch, it spins a main bearing, but it does have a PTO. So you can run an auger with your 8630, but that's the extent of what you can do with it. Yeah, real good. Awesome. Tell me more.
Yeah. So what's the top tractor
It was
on
the
that list?
5.7 Chevy of the diesel world.
Satoa? Sato?
Maybe that's the Menard special.
Could be. The long. I've heard of those.
Yep.
Then it goes to Deutz, Massey.
Read them off. Read the whole list.
Sato, Long, Deutz, Massey Ferguson, Alice Chalmers, John Deere, White, Kubota, IH, Ford, Stiger, Versatile, Case, Satra, Belarus, British Leland. Was there many British Lelands around here?
No.
Never heard of it.
Okay, so our IH dealer sold them.
Really? Mm-hmm. Never heard of it. I mean, I've probably heard of it once, but there was none around here that I know of.
Yeah, there were British Lelands around. I'm surprised there aren't any Samis. Were there Sami tractors around here? It looked like same. Like the name is same. They're those orange.
No.
I think they were Italian.
We were pulling tits around here. We didn't need that shit.
I don't know where the Sami dealer was, but I can remember seeing them for sale.
Never heard of them.
British Leland was
Probably exclusively Wisconsin. You probably got your tickets to the Green Bay Packers, probably got a free Sami.
Yeah.
I think they were Italian. I think so. Let's see.
Well, what isn't?
Sami tractors.
I know you flip through magazines. Sometimes you see like a Fantini and all this weird shit. Like Lamborghini's actually a big tractor in Europe, ain't it? Or was, or
Isn't that how Lamborghini got started? So they were a tractor company, and didn't Enzo Ferrari pop off to the Lamborghini guy about cars or something? And that's how Lamborghini got in cars, right?
I think it was something like he said, hey, I can design a better transmission for you or something for Enzo Ferrari. And Enzo was like, no, you stick to building tractors or something like that. And Lamborghini's like, screw it. I'll build a car then.
Yeah.
You know?
I'll be damned.
And then, and then we got all the 80s bad guys running drugs that today are,
So the funny part about that is one of my friends from Germany back in the day always told me that Ferraris were weekend cars. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, you drive it on the weekend because you're going to work on it the rest of the week, so you can drive it again on the next weekend. He's like, you can't drive them to work. He's like, you'll be late by Tuesday. He's like, you'll never make it the third day.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not. I've never owned a Ferrari. Don't have any intentions of owning one. My experience with Ferraris in the 80s was Ferris Bueller's buddy kicked one out the window.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not wrong.
So
Lamborghini had cool doors.
They did.
Sami was Italian, but it looks like Sami's parent company is the SDF Group, which also makes Deutz Fahr, Lamborghini, and other brands.
Huh.
Interesting.
I guess Lamborghini still makes cars, don't they? Or
yeah.
do they?
Oh, yeah.
I assume so, yeah.
Yep.
There's not a dealer close here. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Ain't got no dealer supporter. I'd have one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd take a Kunta. Lambo doors. Lambo doors is still a package that you can like aftermarket buy for a lot of vehicles now because the Lambo doors are cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think John Deere copied that on the sound guard. I don't think.
No, that would have been a better design than what they used. Literally, they took the heater houser and said, well, what if we make this swing? We'll put a roof over it, make it swing. Hell, it's good to go.
Yep.
Vision guard.
Yeah.
Vision guard.
Well, if only they would have put the park lever on the left-hand side from the entryway, it would have been a better spot. Nick would be comfortable with it then.
You're going to be hard-pressed to convince me the sound guard was worth a blue loving fuck. Like, I will give them credit for it was integrated into the tractor. It wasn't like an afterthought, like a year-round or so on and so forth. But like literally, they never made a cab tractor to then. And then you're going to tell me this design is so great that nobody ever copies it. And the company itself says, oh, you got to have a round cab. Oh, by the way, we're shit canning the round cab. And now we have the 8000 series with a square cab like everybody else has been using since the 2 decades before that. But the round cob was the way to go. With this post in your middle, the air cleaner over here, the exhaust over there, there's not enough room in there for a cup holder. You know why? Because there's no fucking room in it. You can't see anything to the right side. You got to have 2 right arms. You got to have 4 hands to start the piece of shit. There's no redeeming qualities to a sound guard cab. You'll never convince me any different. I just got into Tony's tractor the other night. I was going to do a video while he was gone. I got here before he got here. We're going to meet here. I go to get into that son of a bitch, and I'm not knocking your tractor. No, I know you love it. And it is as nice a 45, 55 as you will find. If you're into queer shit, that's as nice as you'll get. I get stuck getting into it because I'm a bigger guy, can't get to it. The fact that guys use this for chore tractors, I don't know how. Because I'm assuming they were larger guys in coveralls and shit. I get stuck getting in this son of a bitch. I go get out of it. There's 45 fucking steps. Get into the hokey pokey to get out of the damn thing. I damn near fall down the concrete. I'm like, I'm going to die next to this son of a bitch with nobody around. And I'm going to die next to a John Deere, which is my biggest fear in life.
Do you guys ever see the movie Christine?
Yep. Long time. I ain't seen it in years, but yeah, way, way back.
So when the guy that owns the garage goes to get in the car and it starts to click the seat ahead and slowly tries to kill him. Yeah. I think your tractor was just trying to do that.
I didn't start it because I was afraid the seat would automatically go up like John Deere's do, where they shove the seat through the fucking ceiling and break your neck.
Oh, yeah, that one does. Yep.
I'm like, I can't start this thing. I'm already damn near dead. Yeah,
I think the tractor was just trying to get you out of there.
I'm sure it probably was. I'm sure it probably was. Tucker was eyeballing the shit out of me. He's like, you shouldn't be doing this, dude. Yeah. He wasn't wrong. I shouldn't have been doing it. That's why I got out peacefully as best I could, and I just set a chair next to it. I'm like, I'm going to wait for somebody to show up to call 911. I'm going to die in this thing.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't used to no pictures being on the walls, go down the hallway, get to the 1066.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Go down the hallway, take a left, plenty of room to turn around. You got to do the hokey pokey on the step. You know that son of a bitch. There's 45 fucking steps that are 1.5 inches wide. I can't get past it. Can't do it. And you full well know when you get in that the son of a bitch ain't going to start anyway because it's winter. It was sitting in a shed, in a heated shed, so it might start. But for damn sure, if I pull it out, it's not going to.
I can't think of anybody that's ever said IH put good steps on any of their cabs.
They just robbed off the cab over semi
The
division.
steps on a 1466 cab were great. Now, they screwed them up when they went to the 86, but a 1466 step on a cab tractor is fine.
They're like, we got some square stock. We're just going to bend it and bolt the next one to it under here.
On the non-cab model, with the 66 series is the ultimate open station tractor by far. But the main thing you got to have on those is good tires because you're just jumping down and you're going to use the lugs. You're not going to use the steps. Yeah. But on those piles of shit, because you're going to hop in, realize you can't start the son of a bitch, and you ran out of can of ether to jam into the dash. Now, Tony's is new enough where it's electric because you guys finally embraced electric ether start, somewhere in the mid-90s. So you don't have to do that. But if the can's empty now, you get back out, you can get the battery charger, all this bullshit. Shake the wheel. You got to shake, literally, to start a John Deere, you have to shake the wheel, turn the key, pull the fuel shut off, and jam the ether can into the dash. I don't know how many hands you've got, but I only have 2. That's 4 functions that I need to do. I have 2 hands.
You know what you should do, Nick? As a fucking joke, you need some sort of a device. We'll make it that like maybe goes on your grinder or something that like claims in. This is a John Deere wheel shaker we're selling the V4 shop.
No
so
shit.
You get the button that just starts shimmying back.
I'm missing out. I should be doing that. Every time I get in an old IH or an old John Deere, I think the same thing. This is why my dad sold Hessens. I realize they're not worldwide popular, whatever. I'm like, I don't have to do any of that shit. I just turn the key, fire it up. The door's easy to get into. The steps make sense. The shifters are right there. I don't have to crawl over them. The door opens the correct direction. Like, it seems like it all makes sense. And when I'm really wanting to be cool, I open the sunroof, which none of you assholes had.
Yeah.
And you can't put a price on a sunroof.
Well, then, now your ATU that you put in that 4555, is there a setting in the 2600 or 2630 where you can say start mode in the ATU?
Yeah.
Shakes the wheel?
Yeah.
No doubt, right?
Yeah. We should sell that software.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where John Deere's missing out.
Yeah. But I guess at the end of the day, if you had to go between that and a 1086, I'm taking the 45.
I'll take the 1086 because it's going to start. It's got plenty of power. I'll take the 1086. When I was a little kid, I slept a lot of hours behind that seat. I don't know how, because I look at them now. I'm like, how in the hell did I ever fit there?
We should actually take some of this older farm equipment. You know, these people, like when they were little kids, they had these funny pictures out in the yard. One was tackling the other and one was in a wheelbarrow or whatever. We should take funny pictures with farm machine. We're going to stuff Nick in the back glass.
Absolutely. I'll pretend to take a nap.
Sitting on
Absolutely.
somebody's lap. I mean,
Yeah.
just whatever.
Yeah.
Well, you for goddamn sure there's only one way you can ride two people in a 4430, and that's some queer shit, because one guy's got to sit on the other guy's ass. That's the only way. That's cock and balls to lap. Is the only way that's working.
There's no way.
There's
if you're,
no other room
If
in
you're
that.
struggling to get in that 45-55, you are struggling to get in and out of a 1086.
No, absolutely not. You put the chrome shifter levers on it that bend back a little bit, you're good. Put the K&M door thing on it where it opens a little further, you're good to go.
That's what I always figured. That cab made a lot more sense after every time. The first few times you went to open it, and then the wind blew, and it smacked you in the back of the head. You're like, after enough of that, you start to go, this makes sense.
I do like the tilt steering in the 1086. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
They had tilt wheel.
I've never been in one that. Did they really?
50 series did. I think
No,
86.
86 series didn't. 50 series did.
50 series did. It was an option, but yeah, you can get it.
1086 just had the old telescoping, which, it's kind of like the tilt steering on a 66 series.
Look, I'm driving a bus, or I'm driving a ship.
I never could set right in an 86 series. Like, it just always laid out awkward, like, because you couldn't adjust the steering wheel. Like, it was either the seat was too high, too low, having to reach.
Well, it didn't automatically raise when you started.
Exactly.
It just was where it was when you got out of it the last time.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid that's where you wanted it.
True story.
But I mean, it's handy
You
to
John
run
Deere
if you
guys
want
were
to
just
run
so
the hydraulics.
John Deere
and
guys
ship.
were just so excited that it started that you couldn't believe that anything else was going to go forth from there. You're like, well, it's below 70 degrees. This thing actually started. Hooray! Hooray!
Yeah.
We can go burn a shitload of fuel on. Oh, problem. Somebody put diesel fuel in the radiator because they're fucking right next to each other, and some dipshit put the nozzle in the radiator. Oh, bad deal. Or we put antifreeze in the fuel.
Could you imagine trying to run a loader on a 1086?
Oh, fuck.
So you're
And
going to
there's actually, I've
shift it
seen
and
several
grab
of
the
them.
hydraulics? You'd have to steer with your knees
Yeah.
or something. But
That's why you could extend the steering wheel. Took like 2 seconds to get the steering wheel out of the thing. Spin the little nut, pull it right up.
See, now, if they would have put like the race car quick coupler on that
It
steering
was a
wheel,
quick
it
coupler.
probably
You spin the nut like 3 times and the steering
Yeah,
wheel's
it was-
out of your way.
come right out, huh?
Come right out of your way.
That's
And you
handy.
had plenty of horsepower as opposed to you guys with a gas engine on diesel that are still like, well, shit, I guess we're stuck at 150 horse, burning a shitload of fuel, but we're real cool because we're John Deere guys.
What's the 86 series guys I would have known would have been like, fuck, where did I set the steering wheel now?
Hell, does that have the comparisons of like a 1086 in that book right there? If you go up the IH chart,
Yeah, so
Now, the
1086.
cab I will agree that the 1086 should have been the 50 series cab.
agree.
A 3688 cab is perfectly fine. That should have been the 1086 cab. I will not deny that.
Was it
That's how-
1086 130?
That's how it should have been.
130. Yep. And this is with the 4430, not the 40 in this one yet. So 125.88. But this one does have Nick's personal favorite tractor in it. The 6030 is in here.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
The tractor was so popular that nobody ever bought one or farmed with it.
Oh, and a
I just saw a
4186.
TikTok the other day that somebody was complaining, and the guy was responding to a comment, and I don't know what the previous conversation was, but it was about the front end being heavy. And the guy's like, well, yeah, how are the engineers supposed to know in the early 60s that they need to be lighter for tractor pulling them? Newsflash, asshat, they were too heavy to farm with in the front. Like, had nothing to do with tractor pulling. It was the fact that if it was soft at all, they just fell in.
Right,
And with your whopping 115 horse that a 5010 had, you couldn't get out of it.
Because I'm
With
sure.
with 3-point arms the size of a nickel deck. Like,
I'm sure all the engineers are designing tractors solely on the purpose of tractor pulling.
Yeah.
I think they just chiseled that tractor on a solid cast iron. They just got a block of it.
All they did was take a 4010 and they're like, yeah. Does anybody know how to multiply? Yeah. Can you just multiply that by 0.25? We'll take the same engine that's gas on diesel. We'll make it a little bit bigger, make the tractor a little bit bigger. It'll still suck ass, but it'll be bigger. And that's where they went. Nobody farmed with those pieces of shit. Those rear ends sucked. The transmission sucked. The engine sucked. They were just bigger than everybody else. But even then, still nobody wanted them. Name me one guy you know that farmed with a 5010 and put 5,000 hours on it farming. Nobody knows that guy because that guy doesn't exist.
Yeah. Found a low-hour 6030. I'm
Yeah.
sure you did.
When we were farming or we were pulling in the 90s, the story was the same. Well, I bought this 5010 out of a fence row. I bought this 5010 out of a scrap yard. Nobody bought one off a dealership lot because there was none of them on a dealership lot because every one of them had got mothballed. They're only cool now because they weren't worth a fuck then.
And they come out with what motor?
531.
We haven't talked about it's a pretty good thing that 619 was a factory replacement engine. That never bothered you, did it, Nick?
Replacement, though, I think is the key word.
Replacement, yep. Once again, I've got no problem with that. If that's the avenue we're going down, that's fine. But if John Deere could have mounted an engine in a four-wheel drive, they'd have ran out of those engines 30 years ago. But the only reason there's a full supply of them to this day is the fact that the four-wheel drive, every time you cross the ditch, spun a main bearing. And then we have to replace it with this magical 50 series. It has 2 oil filters.
You know what's kind of funny, though, in this chart? If you look, 4186, IH was a pioneer in crab steer technology.
They were a pioneer. They didn't keep it very long, though. They didn't keep it very long. They were a pioneer in it.
Yeah. Yeah. So the four-wheel drive John Deere's
sucked ass. They bought the first ones from Wagner. Then they did their own version, which was an epic failure. The fact they bought every one of them back except for one, because that guy's like, well, I'll have the only one, so I won't take it back.
And then finally John Kinsball would be like, well, I'll help you unfuck this deal. I'll at least put a Kinsey reef.
Yeah. Let me talk about John Deere engineering. How about the 8850? What a masterpiece of technology that was. Yeah. How many of those you see running around today? Pound your chest on that. What a pile of shit.
Yeah.
Got beat out by a 9-0-0.
Yeah.
By a large margin.
I actually don't even like the looks of an 8850. I mean,
because they suck.
They're just kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Kind of awkward. If you got off the dealership lot, made it all the way home, you were a lucky guy.
And silence fills the
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got nothing because they sucked. There's no defense. There's no defense for those. There's no defense for those. Hadn't been for John Kinsball, 8850 has been unheard of to this day.
Yeah.
They would have made them for 1 year. Everybody like, you hear about the shit they used to do, but I haven't heard of it. That'd been the end of it.
Yeah.
Thank you, John Kinsball, for saving me 8850.
Yeah.
By repowering it with something useful.
Yeah.
The Cummins that you could have gotten something else, like a Stiger.
Yeah.
If you were buying a four-wheel drive in those days and it wasn't lime green, you weren't getting much.
No.
Four-wheel drives have only been built in one place in the world to this day, and that's Fargo, North Dakota.
So they actually had a lot of problems with that 4366 with putting the 466 in there. It wasn't nearly as... The early 4366s had a lot.
He's trying to change the topic.
No,
go ahead.
No. So yeah, should have had the Stiger with the Cummins instead of the 4366.
No, they shouldn't have. What they should have done, how this should have went. You want my opinion on how that should have went? I'm going to give it to you anyway. You didn't ask for it, but fuck yeah, I don't care. How that should have went with when IH and Stiger was, IH should have went to Stiger and said, hey, you're going to build our four-wheel drives. You've got the best chassis by far.
Yep.
You've got the best axle combination. We're not going to shove two 1066 axles in this shit. You're going to put your axles in it. We're going to put our engine in it, and you're going to put our gauge package in it. You're going to paint them red. And you're done buying 3208s and all the other stupid shit, the low-end shit you're buying from Cummins and Cat. You're going to buy 466s from us for your small four-wheel drives. The big shit's going to have 855 Cummins in it. You're going to paint it red for us. Our gauge package, your axles, your frame, done. The world's a much better place if that happens. All those Cat ones minus the 3406 weren't worth having.
No.
All the Cummins ones minus the 855 weren't worth having.
No, the triple nickel.
Stiger's gauges sucked. We blend the two. IH's rear end sucked in those deals. Even if they would take the same power, they take up 4 times as much space as the Rabba. Just put the Rabba axle in it. Be done. The world's a better place. You sell yours in green, we'll sell ours in red. Try to make your dealers our dealers. Try to make every Stiger dealer an IH dealer and vice versa. Whatever. Katie bar the door. We're both good to go. Both companies are still in business. They're still doing fine.
Yeah.
I do feel like Stiger's hands were tied a little bit, though. When your entire tractor lineup is named after felines,
Yes.
you have to put a cat motor in.
Well, if it ain't a cat, it's a dog. You'll never hear me knock a 3406. Brian and I have had this debate and this argument numerous times. I love 3406 cats. I do. Everything else they've got kind of sucks ass.
Yeah. Which actually, in the feline, when they have a panther,
You got to know your cats, Tony. You got to know your
a puma, tiger, a panther,
bear cat. You got to know them all.
You got the Lion 1000.
Lion was the big one.
No.
Yeah,
I wonder why they skipped
Well, the
cheetah.
big one
Tiger was the biggest one.
Why'd they skip cheetah? I mean, that's like a popular cat, and they skipped it.
I don't know. That's an interesting question to know.
How big of Johnny Cockstead would you be walked into the coffee shop saying, I just bought a Stiger tiger? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
You would have been a Johnny
I mean,
Cockstead,
a Stiger tiger, boys.
Yeah.
which was a Cummins.
Yep. Was that
Well,
like that?
or a cat. So you could get a 3408.
Like 3 of them. There wasn't very,
But that
there wasn't very
wasn't
many
the
of them.
complete big dog. Wasn't there a KT?
That
So
was, the
the-
KTA 1150 was in a Tiger.
Well,
Oh, it was?
or
Okay.
you could get a 3408. It was optional.
Yeah, but they only sold like 3 of those.
If I
Or
ever,
maybe 6.
There was a few, but I
Very,
don't.
very few. It's almost constant. You guys are busy pulling tits and spreading shit. You didn't need that kind of horsepower. You guys were running around on your 5010s. You know, once summer came around, you could start them. But they didn't sell very many. The KTAs versus the 3408, they sold way more KTAs. By far.
Yes. Well, and they made the KTA longer, and then the 3408 didn't start out as an option.
You Peterbilt guys had sucked up all the 3408s.
Yes.
There was none
Yes.
to be had for the lot. for
they
the
were
Tigers.
too busy doing dropping hooks with that.
Yeah,
motor.
dropping hooks with tall shifters, seats low, long hoods.
But then, yes, you're right. The next series was the KP 525.
Yeah.
So that was they kicked up the horsepower instead of, because I think the original ones were rated at 450 horse.
Yeah.
Or
Then a
470.
9190 was 525.
Yes.
If I ever win the Powerball, which I don't play, I will have a new Case IH quad track painted in Stiger green.
Absolutely.
Just because I think they're cool.
Yeah.
Even if it
Absolutely.
just has to sit in the shop and
I
never
love,
move,
I love Stiger Green.
I do think they're cool.
So
Has anybody ever asked Uppy if he's seen a 9190? Because I heard most of them went to.
I thought he had a
I thi-
video.
I think so. I think we had that conversation one time.
Yeah, I thought he put
think
one
so.
on a video.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I'd be seeing it all. I mean, it was probably metric. What's 525 in metric?
Yeah.
Uppy, if you're
Multiply
listening,
it,
if you're listening, the metric system sucks.
Yeah.
Love you, but I don't agree.
Can't say that he's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
When's the last time you sold milk by the liter?
Or had a liter of cola.
While you were milking, but yeah.
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 Yep. Well, should we wrap this one up and do
Yeah.
another? Like, should we do
Yeah.
a part 2? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, we should start a
Absolutely.
really good conversation right now, and we'll get like 4 paragraphs into it. Like, until
But
next
wait,
time.
there's more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Be the cliffhanger version.
Hey, sneak peek. Sound guards are going to suck in the next podcast just as much as they suck now.
We're
Sound like a
really gonna
challenge.
go after Agco again.
Yeah.
Really upset.
You're not going to bother me with that.
I think we're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't really knock Hessing because I don't know enough about him. So
I mean, Nick's defending IH, but we determined tonight that he's diehard Agco. It's a family tradition.
No, I'm pretty diehard red, bud.
yeah, I mean, he wasn't that good either.
He's an
My
Agco
last name is
dealer.
McCormick. Cyrus is my great great grandpa. I'm pretty diehard red.
All right. Look what that got him.
Did you get any traits of Brooks or whichever one ran it in the ground?
Fowler.
Brooks unfortunately turned it over to some of Ryan's relation from Wisconsin.
Gotcha.
That's where it went south.
Yeah.
Was Fowler your uncle?
No,
Okay.
no, it was not.
Okay.
It went from Brooks to the other
Archie McCardle.
Yeah, Archie. There you go.
Yeah. All
With
right.
a name like Archie, he's bound to be in charge of some football.
Yeah,
or
that sounds like
some
a cartoon.
ag equipment.
Yeah.
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 All right. We're going to shut this one down. We're going to turn right around and do another one.
Yeah, absolutely we will.
But these might come out to the public like 6 months apart. I don't know.
Of course, yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? The biannual podcast.
This
We'll
one might
back.
be the rowdier one. We'll have another drink.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse. Okay. I apologize for what I said earlier. I'll try to make it worse the next time.
Look at that. Ran all the way through the bump music. See you on the next one.
Yeah.